Alright, so welcome back. Hoping you guys are having a fabulous day here today. So we're talking about how to increase your CC as a free-to-play player, right? Everything you can do in every main way and where the biggest CC jumps are. Now, there's two things to keep in mind. First thing, this is all the ways to do it, to have your CC increase. But the big thing is that yes, if you're trying to base your account on somebody else's, that person may be a whale and that will affect the final value, right? There's a limit of what you can hit as a free to play. But again, if you keep on playing, if you keep on progressing, yes, that limit will keep on increasing. But the thing is, don't compare yourself in any gacha game to other players because they will just, if it's like a whale, right? They will have more CC than you. It's undeniably a fact. Keep that in mind. With that being said, let's jump into this. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun with it. Let's check it out. So with the main breakdown of everything with a unit itself, okay? The first thing you have to understand is you have to max out the unit, right? You max out the unit, level 100, 6-star awakened. That is when a unit hits its maximum. You can't, right now, at the time of recording this video, bypass anything beyond 100 or a 6-star fully awakened, super awakened character, right? That is where the max is. So to obviously get the most CC, you have to level the character. That's the first thing. Now, where it kicks down into it to be one of the whale areas, to increase CC, you have to go and get ultimate moves upgraded. For example here, for a character like this, a 3-6 Margaret, which is not too high up there, right? Some festivals may be a 1-6, for example, in this account, Merlin is a 1-6, but for these festival units, when you lose out on that much CC, it's a big difference. It's about, what, 600 CC or something like that for one ultimate upgrade, which is, it's a pretty good amount. So I don't know if it's exactly 600, but per one of these, will be a big amount of CC jumped per character, right? Not talking about anything else, but per character, ultimate levels are very, very important, right? So if you're looking at this video trying to go first in PvP, realize that if somebody's 6-6 Escanor, that is a lot of CC they have over you. Again, you buying cosmetics or doing stuff like that will never change the fact that they have 6-6. They have a freaking 6-6 Escanor, you have a 1-6, you lost out on like a crap ton of CC. This is one of the areas where, yes, it turns into a whale heavy thing. But again, there are some teams out there that have an innately high CC that, you know, even if they go second, even if they go first, they might be able to just turn the tide. And that depends on everything separately. Again, you can have a great ultimate, but if your unit like hits for nothing and you have like a maxed out unit on the other side with maxed out cosmetics hitting for good damage, that can also swap the battlefield. So just keep that in mind. Again, back to Escanor right here. So those are the main tabs. Obviously, equipment is a big factor. First thing, the biggest jumps you will ever see in CC will be first 5-starring a piece of equipment and then going and URing that piece of equipment, okay? I know people that have been playing for a while that have not UR'd equipment. When you UR a piece of equipment, you are literally just giving a massive bonus to this number over here, which in any capacity will jump up the unit a freaking crap ton, okay? So just keep this in mind when you are taking care of everything. UR gear is the #1 way to just basically increase a unit's CC, right? And again, you then go and change stats and then you reroll these stats until they're perfect. Again, this set is not exactly perfect. Obviously, the HP is too low. That has to be maxed out. The attack has currently been maxed out. Defense is close to being maxed out. But basically, that is how you increase CC off of just gear. First leveling it up, then URing it, then rerolling the stats. Again, if you want more CC on specific units, and these units don't really need or aren't forced per se to take attack crit, you can then run HP defense. Running an HP defense set on a character will actually increase their CC heavily. The HP attribute or the HP stat is massive when it comes to CC. So keep that in mind that if you do have HP gear sets or HP defense on characters, that will be another jump you'll take in CC. So just keep that in mind. But heading over to Closet, right, with this entire tab, this is a lot of the area where also whale heaviness will kind of occur. To level up a unit CC just individually, it's cosmetics, okay? First, you get GP points when you acquire a cosmetic, which is good. That is another way to increase CC. I'll talk about that in a second here. But you have cosmetic being the headpiece, which again, HP, it's gonna increase a lot. Weapon, give you a lot of attack damage and some good stats. For example, if I purchase this, in some areas I will get an advantage because I have pierce rate and crit chance. Let's see if there's a crit damage. Or crit damage and crit chance is really good. So these two cosmetics are pretty nasty, giving you an additional 2% and then 4%, 6% extra in crit damage is a big jump. If I go over here to cosmetic, let's see what it gives. It gives you recovery rate, lifesteal, and then lifesteal. So, those are pretty good also. This will just be raw defense and crit defense. Yeah, so that's how that's going to go. Again, each one will give you stats. Once you max them out also, And again, yes, you might be saying, oh, you know, you're a whale saying this. First off, I just let you know, you know this by now if you watch my videos. I am a free-to-play player. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, the way to acquire costumes is during costume sales, okay? The costume sale has not returned yet, but when it does, these are big ways to actually pick up what you need. I would recommend you build one set of a team because you're going to run that team now, right? You have pure cosmetics on that team. That team will have high CC. That is how you maximize it as a free-to-play player. Yes, it might be like boring, like, oh, now I can only use one specific team. Like, I want to like run multiple teams. Again, if you stock up gems, right? So let's say you decide to skip the end of your banner because you'd rather go in and invest in the costume sale heavily. You're more than welcome to. Yes, you lose on a one unit, unless that unit was like a PvE god unit, like that's the only thing. That's when you decide. Okay, so if it's like, oh, it's a PvE god, maybe I need that, then you obviously lost on the costume sale. That's how it's going to be. But if it isn't, you win in the costume sale. You go in, you buy all the things for what you need. If you need Escanor, if that is on sale, go for that. If you need anything you need, you chase those units, depending on what your team is. That is where you get that CC because of the costume sale. You're saving gems. That's what it is as a free-to-play. That's the mainly only way. Again, yes, more whale heavy. I mentioned it, but still, if you want to increase CC, you need costumes. That is where you'll get your jumps in CC, but those are just the basic ways. Those are the same ways that you probably know by now, but with it now, right? So while you're leveling up characters, while you're doing all of this, you will acquire a currency called GP points. So with these GP points, you'll go to like one of these, right? So you might be on the Constellation of Greed. You might be on whichever constellation you are on, right? So as you're progressing, as you're taking care of everything, you will unlock constellations and you'll do all of that. That is the entire point of it. And again, yes, you're going to be asking, yo, how do you obtain GP points? Isn't that also a whale area? Because you have to pick up the unit and get the ultimate levels. Yes and no, basically, right? Because first off, on my free-to-play account, majority of the units that were like must-haves or units that I, this year that I had to summon for, I was able to make it from like most of them. And I had to skip a few, yes, but on Fez banners, when a Fez banner releases and it's so spicy like this one, if you play your cards right and you don't chase weird units in the middle of the year, you can pull first like the main unit copy and then copies on top of it, right? If you do play your cards right, you can unlock a lot of GP points from just pulling extra units in some area and some box CC from these units. But again, I do recommend that you only jump in heavily on like, let's say 4% banners because you have an extra 1% in pulling an SSR. Again, if you are saving your SSR tickets properly, if you're using events properly, you will consistently pull GP points and just extra box CC. For example, this jumping event that we did have, that gave a lot of box CC and a lot of stuff to people. So again, use those GP points, do all of that. Again, leveling up your box just individually, going in like 5-starring each of the characters with full awakening tokens, that will really, really help you. Leveling up, that will also help you in CC and chasing GP points. So always keep that in mind, that there are ways that you can go and farm, extra super awakening tokens here and there. Make sure you're always using your weekly dungeon key. These are ways that will continuously gain you GP points, that will raise your CC, raise your overall box, and then give you more buffs, HP titles, all of that. It works hand in hand. So again, keep that in mind. Chasing dupes is big, right? So again, for like ungeared or geared PvP, yes, chasing dupes is a big thing, but you don't always have to in the area that if your box and your things are all set up really nicely and your character itself is really good, you could win in a capacity against a 6/6 Escanor, maybe. Escanor is just a bad example, but you could win, right? So again, if you focus on everything, those are the ways to increase CC. So just keep those things in mind. Again, as you progress through all of these, so if you do great, you go into Envy, then go into the other one, you will constantly unlock more upgrades, right? So for this one right here, we're going to be unlocking, what is it? It's, I think HP is this one. HP. So you're unlocking 300 extra HP. Over here, you're unlocking 12 attack. Over here, you're unlocking 12 attack. So the entire point here is, as you unlock these more substats or these more stats for your units, this is a big way where your team CC will constantly increase. On the other side, as you upgrade your box CC, right, that will also be a massive way to just increase your HP buff that is provided to you, which will then constantly help you in where you try to at least get stronger units as you progress, right? So again, you might sit there and be like, oh, I don't need to level up my units in my box. Those have to sit there, which again, it is true. You first focus on your main units, and then when you have those main units built, you have your main team, you will start using resources on your box, on, again, the lesser main units, more just useful units, right? There's a lot of units in the game that are just super, super useful. So your goal is to level up those units as fast as possible, and then unlock more and more HP titles and more GP points. Remember, it all comes down to GP, okay? The higher you unlock this constellations, the higher you do all this, the more stats you're getting. I'll be honest with you, on my GP account, at the start of when I actually like started taking care of it, I've jumped up altogether like 6,000, 7,000 CC on my main team, because I finished off the first, second, and third constellations super fast, like genuinely speaking, because it had so many units like unlocked after the months I played it. And then just like going and using all the old things, using all of that. Those are really big ways to unlock GP points. And I can show this to you real quick. Let me hop over there. So first thing, what you can do, and this will give you a crap ton of GP points, and it will also heavily increase your box CC. You can go and you'll have a bunch of these. You will, okay? And don't be like, oh, these gold coins are super useful, I don't want to like trade them away. At a point, you have to 6/6 your, you know, gold and silver units. So just go through and alt all of these silver and the gold units, right? Again, just make sure they are silver and gold before you actually go and, you know, increase their ultimate gauge, right? Or ultimate level. But just check each one, okay? Go through it, and then finally do that. Finally upgrade them to where they're 6/6. That will grant you a crap ton of freaking GP points. You will then take those GP points and unlock more and more constellations, which will then return you more stats and more CC in the long run. Again, you'll see that at some area it's like small jumps, but as you start completing bigger and bigger constellations, you will see those big jumps, and that is one of the areas where, again, a whale will stomp you because they have more units unlocked. They have more stuff like that. Again, I'm a free-to-play player, okay? And I'm not like getting obliterated, like devastated, destroyed. After all the time that I've been playing, I definitely have made my account very, very good. Again, if you save for proper banners and you do everything, I still think that Grand Cross is semi, okay, don't hate me, don't like send pitchforks to me. I still think it's semi free-to-play friendly. I have played some gacha games out there that are heavily pay to win, and like there's no chance you compete. If you're not aiming for like the top and the top lot of like winning in PvP, you're fine. If you just want to have some fun, play PvP, and just enjoy, you can definitely do good. Some units ruin that, right? Escanor exists, but like, you know, that ultimate gauge is, or that ultimate level thing is kind of ruining me. I was lucky enough to free-to-play get 2/6, which is okay, but that's a big thing. So realize that, yes, these things will in turn trade you a lot. GP points is a big way. Unlocking those HP titles is also pretty good. So just make sure that you get that done. And as you progress your account, that will increase your stats, your CC, and all of that accordingly. And then also, just to show this to you, right? So this does help you in the long run also. You can acquire titles. By going to the title area and like doing some of these missions, you can actually acquire titles. And these titles will also give you substats and just helpful things. For example, this one right here, attack increase. Additional 2% attack when eating attack food. We have max HP increase. Additional 4% of HP when eating HP food. These titles are also pretty big. So check the titles tab in your dailies area. Go to the quest area and then just check titles. And then start unlocking some of these. Some of them are really easy to unlock while some aren't. So jump into it, check them out. And these will also help you out with extra stats and CC because of the extra boost it's giving you. So just keep that in mind. It's another little thing just on the side here. And then again, it is also just worth it. I'm going to include this in this video here. I'm not like increasing per se a unit CC. This is more including like raising a team CC, right? So associations are a massive way to actually increase CC, okay? So first, the best associations in the game have to be the Archangels for the reason that they have a grace. And that grace is outstandingly broken on majority of them, okay? For example, this team is run off debuffs. That's why we have this one over here, this grace, because it applies a debuff. We have this one over here also because it's just broken. Keeps healing Merlin and then blocks the skill effect if attacked twice. That's the first thing, okay? But you might be a newer player. You might not have these. So using a potentially 1/6 Tarmia, 1/6 Ariel on like your teams, if you've seen videos, you're like, oh, they're using Sariel. Let me use Sariel too, right? It's maybe better to use other characters you have fully leveled up or potentially 6/6, right? So if you do have a character fully leveled up or 6/6, maybe use that as an association instead to just bump up CC when you are running a team. Again, also having for geared, you know, content, running CC or equipment on all of the characters, then all of these characters will also bump your CC. These characters having leveled up cosmetics, these characters having 6/6s, these characters having anything maxed out, 100, all of that, that will just affect how your CC in the end is like played out to be, okay? So when it comes out of team CC, which is what I'll save for a separate video and later on, but just with it, the main factors are, again, associations being huge, the characters themselves having their cosmetics, their gear, their levels up all the way, their ult levels, their cosmetics maxed out or whatever, your GP points potentially maxed out. So for example, here, I'll show it to you, ready? I actually have some GP points that I can spend. You saw the 237. So currently, I'm at 178, 271. All I'm going to do is do GP points and then hop back here and I'll show you how much it jumps up. Okay, so that's the jump that I got out of 200 points. Basically, I can only buy 3 small and like the worst buffs possible. So just to ruin my point, I went up a little bit, all right? But I have 84 points left because I now have to purchase 100 tier 1s, which cost a lot, right? 100. So I need 60 more points to do that. But I can only buy 3 buffs. With 3 buffs purchased, I jumped up a little bit of CC, okay? Now imagine that on a larger scale, finishing a constellation, having 4 or 5 constellations filled out, that is where CC will jump up constantly as you upgrade and as you work on your teams. So again, just keep that in mind. This video is mainly just, individual CC. It's again gear, associations for teams. It's again leveling up cosmetics, leveling up the ultimate, getting the affinity maxed out so that you have that extra cosmetic, maxing out that cosmetic again, and then just leveling up fully, doing all of that. That is the main ways. Rerolling the stats in the gear, putting the proper gear on the character, making sure if the character runs off HP defense to maximize all of that. That is the way to go about it, and that is the way to make sure your CC is high up there. For example, again, Escanor doesn't exactly have his maxed out equipment as he should. I'm supposed to be, going through and on this substat here, increasing everything, and then this is also a little bit low. So I can reroll all of this, use my anvils, hammer out the perfect substats to where it looks like this. And each of these are basically golden because they are maxed out, and that's the best way to go about it for certain units. So keep that in mind. That's the best way. I will try and update this more and more and make more in-depth ones in the future. So with that being said, catch you in the next one. Have one, stay safe. Hopefully that was helpful. If it was, let me know down below. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, enjoy, and that's been it for me.